Season 1 of this podcast is sponsored by Muslim Marriage Services, also known as MMS. If you are looking for marriage, then join MMS, your trusted platform for finding a life partner within the Muslim community. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome to Divorced Muslims, a Second Chance podcast. My name is Muhammad and I am your host. In this episode, we are joined by Brother Ali. His story is about how his wife's family manipulated her against him and the effects that this had on their marriage. Assalamu alaikum to all the listeners and our guest today, who is Brother Ali. Ali, welcome to the show, and why don't you start by introducing yourself?
Well, assalamu alaikum to everyone. My name is Ali, I'm 33 and I'm from Leeds.
I've got an interesting first question for you, Ali. So I've heard many stories, right, where families know that something is going wrong in a marriage. It could be their child's marriage or brother's marriage or sister's marriage. So they know that things are going toxic and they know about this. But they would much rather their family members be part of a toxic marriage than get a divorce. In other words, that's how much people fear divorce. Why do you think that is?
I think one of the reasons, especially in the Pakistani community or the Asian community, I would say, is divorce is considered like a dishonorable thing. So it's more a matter of honor. So people, they don't want that kind of stigma on their head, and people gossiping about them, making remarks and such and such. So I think that's probably the main reason, especially the old generation, I would say anyway, that's their kind of mentality.
Let's go straight into your story and your previous marriage. To begin with, how did you come across your ex-partner?
So in February 2016, I went on holiday to Pakistan. It was just that I was in the same boring routine, so I just needed to clear my head. I went on holiday and my mother accompanied me because she needed doing things over there to the house and stuff. And my mother's cousin, who is married into her family, she is the one that kind of recommended my ex to my mother. And that's how it kind of, the whole marriage proposal came about.
How long ago was your divorce?
I got divorced in February 2020.
2016 to 2020. Let's go straight into when you got married and, how the early parts of your marriage were.
So when I first married her, it was kind of, I wasn't expecting it because, as I said, I was on holiday. I was trying to clear my head and just try to relax and enjoy myself. And it kind of just was sprung up on me. And initially, I didn't want to get married. I did speak to the girl. She didn't really speak to me because she was so shy at the time because we hardly knew each other. She was from the village. When we did get married, it was like literally within 2 weeks that we were married. And they kind of sprung it up on me again. Like I said, when I spoke to the girl 3 days later, they said that the marriage is fixed and you're getting married, basically.
So as a married man, do you remember, you were married for 4 years. Talk me through year one, how was that? Do you recall it? 2016 to 2017?
Yeah, I was married there and I came back to the UK. As soon as I was married, literally I spent a week with her. I came back to the UK. And in October 2016, the same year, I went to visit her and everything was fine. We got along really well and, we had a really good laugh and it was just like how I imagined marriage to be. Then it came to me coming back to the UK and I was trying to do her visa appeal for her to get her to the country. So I didn't really see her in 2017.
When did she come over?
She came over to the UK in April 2018.
Technically, you don't know this, but you've got less than 2 years left of your marriage. Tell me what happens in this period of time.
So yeah, April 2018, she arrives in the country and again, everything was fine. We got along really well. I was trying to help her to get used to the British way of life, British culture, that type of thing. And we got along, we went out everywhere, we did everything, and everything was fine and dandy. But until I would say 8 months later into the marriage, when she was in the UK, um, everything kind of changed. She changed as a character, her demeanor changed, her mentality, just the way she would even speak to me changed. Her whole attitude, basically.
What do you think triggered this change?
It was definitely, I would say, the influence of family. She had family here in Birmingham. She had two sisters over here, both married themselves, and she had uncles and cousins here.
When you say family, do you mean like family interference? Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Okay, like what? Expand on that. What actually happened?
Well, one example I can give is that I remember perfectly well was that she was on the phone to one of her sisters, and as I was doing my own thing there, I literally heard it loud and clear. Her sister saying to my ex-wife that now that you're here in the UK, you should kind of put him on lock and not let him. You should basically take control of your husband.
Right, you heard this, and do you recall what she said in response to that?
She didn't really say anything. I mean, she kind of just laughed it off. But I clearly kind of said it loud enough back that saying, because of the household she was married into, they were very strict. And I basically made it known to her that for someone who can't really do anything herself, she shouldn't be giving words of advice like that to other people.
You got interference, etc. Does your ex-partner, does she take any actions that you don't like or causes a problem, or something goes wrong because of what she says? Anything that you can recall?
Yeah, many things happened when I don't even know why this was, but her family seemed to have a very strange hold over her, whatever they said she did. And this is why the arguments kind of started, because she would disrespect me and not listen to what I had to say, but rather what her family had to say.
As I said, you're in the last parts of your marriage and you don't know this at this point. So where does it all go wrong? Like any other parts of the story that you can recall?
I mean, I can tell you literally where it ended, where it was a week before our 4th year anniversary. And just before, a few days before that, the family was very emotional in the sense where my cousin had tragically passed away, and she was only young, 21, 22 years old. And so, because I was kind of in a state of emotion myself, and things were very, we were at a very difficult stage. And the things kind of got even worse when my ex-wife kind of started causing petty arguments for no reason at all. And she should have been more kind of understanding in this situation of what was going on. But anyways, I kind of had a surprise gift for her for every week leading up to the 4th year anniversary. When it came to the first day on Monday, she caused an argument and it kind of escalated, and I just couldn't stand it no longer, because I had already previously made it known to my parents that I couldn't live with her, and that was the reason, because on one of the occasions we had an argument and I basically heard her talking to her auntie, saying that I had basically physically put my hands on her, physically abused her, which wasn't true. I was at the bottom of the stairs at the time, and I could hear her talking in my bedroom. And I obviously confronted her, and I checked who she was speaking to, and that was the day when I totally lost trust for her. And so, but going back to the argument that happened that day, it kind of escalated, and I told my parents, that's it, I'm done with her. That I can no longer live with this woman because it's just too much for me now. And the only reason why this marriage had lasted this long was because her dad had passed away 2 years prior to me marrying her. And I was always guilt tripped by my father, him saying that, look, she's an orphan, you should stay with her, God's wrath will be upon you, these type of things. So he just kind of guilt tripped me all the time, and that's why it lasted that long. Otherwise, had it been up to me, it wouldn't have even lasted this long.
When you did speak to your family this time, what did they say?
Because I was in a fit of rage and I was really upset at the time as well, they actually threw me out of the house, and I slept overnight in my car. That's where I spent the night in my car.
What was her reaction to all of this?
Her reaction was, obviously she was upset. But yeah, I mean, I just remember my bedroom light being on, and at the time I didn't realize, but she was just packing her things. But I didn't know, obviously, because I was in my car.
Did she want to end the marriage as well, or was it just yourself?
At the time, I think it was just me. But then I think when she did leave, I think it was kind of. I don't actually think she wanted to divorce. I think she just wanted to sit down and with the families and kind of just have a talk and see if we can get somewhere.
So you are sleeping in the car. You wake up the next day. What happens the next day? You recall?
So I wake up. I went to work as usual. I came back home in the evening, and my mum comes in the room and she tells me that my ex-wife is in Birmingham with her family, and her uncle has called my mum and basically told her, asking what happened, that she was crying, and she basically he wanted to know basically what happened and the reason why she was there. He said he would call my mother back, but we never received that phone call. I just had assumed that she had gone to work, and that she would give me a call to pick her back up, because that was the usual.
Does she ever come back after that?
No, she didn't.
So technically, right now you're separated. So what happens from here? How do you deal with it?
So what had happened was, I thought I'd kind of give her some space and myself some space from her as well. So this was a Tuesday when she had left for Birmingham to her family. Skipped the Wednesday, and coming on to the Thursday, I got a knock on my door, and I received an envelope, and upon opening it, they were actually family court papers, and also a non-molestation order against me.
A non-molestation order against you?
Yes.
Isn't that something that would be imposed upon somebody who, I don't know, who's violent towards their partner or something like that? Is that not how it works?
I mean, that's how I thought it worked as well. But I was very surprised to see how she'd got it, and also the fact that the court papers had arrived to me within 2 days. I did think that this was something pre-planned.
Right. Okay. So you open this envelope and it's a non-molestation order. What does that order like ask of you?
So basically, it's a restraining order, and what it said was that I'm not allowed to contact her. I'm not allowed to contact her family, her friends, and also the address that she's living at. I'm not allowed within 100 meters of the house.
You're still technically married to her, though, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you receive this in the post. I mean, does what happens next? Because you obviously cannot contact her, but what does happen?
As I was reading this non-molestation order, honestly, I was so shocked. I just couldn't believe what I was holding, what I was reading. And even worse was the witness statement that she had wrote against me, which was, I don't think there was even a single truth in there. It was basically her saying that I was physically abusive to her. I was very controlling. I didn't let her do anything. She was forced to do all the housework. The typical type of things which wasn't even true at all.
Let me ask you directly: were you ever physically abusive to her?
No, never.
Okay. Why do you think she would make all these things up? Why do you think she did that?
I think it was just it comes to that typical response where maybe I think she did it for the visa, to be honest, and maybe to stay in the country. I think that was the main objective. I was so angry, I was upset, I was shocked still at what had happened. And literally the next day of me receiving the papers, she tried to contact me. I ignored every single call. She called me up to 34 times in one night. And it carried on through the days where she even got her friends from Pakistan to contact me. And even they told me that basically she's sorry for what she's done and she wants forgiveness and she wants to try and work things out. And I just told them that, look, whatever's happened now has happened, and I don't really want to speak to you. And, we'll just see what goes on as the family court appears to the date. So as time went on, she would always message me. She would always contact me via Instagram messages. There was a time when I did start speaking to her, and she would just tell me the same old thing about how it wasn't in her hands, and she was kind of put in a position where she wasn't she couldn't do anything, and this was her family's doing, putting the restraining order on me. As the months went by, we were talking to each other, and she would always say the same thing to me every day, which was, please, come to Birmingham, speak to my family, and, come take me back, and, I want this marriage to work. I don't want to get divorced, and please just come and talk to them and take me back home. At the beginning, obviously, I was very angry. I didn't want anything to do with her. But as time went on, I honestly kind of started believing her words that maybe she was remorseful and she was sorry and she genuinely was asking for forgiveness. And so there came a point in May 2020 when she asked me to see her family and come and talk to them and, try to resolve the issue. I would always tell her the same thing, which was that, look, remove the non-molestation order, then I will come see you. But as I said, I did start to believe her words that she was being genuine, and I didn't tell nobody, not my family, nobody in my family. And I went off to Birmingham. I did call her, and her uncle came outside the house. I told him, look, I want to speak to you, and I also want to speak to her. And he just wasn't having any of it. He was like, look, she doesn't want to see you. She doesn't want to speak to you. So just leave.
Hold on. I thought she did want to see you.
Yeah, but this is what he told me, that she didn't want to see me, she didn't want to speak to me. And so I kind of came back to my hometown, and as soon as I pulled up outside my house, I received a phone call, which was from Birmingham police. And they told me that I had broken my non-molestation order and to basically hand myself into the local police station, because I'm from West Yorkshire, from Leeds, so I couldn't go to Birmingham. So they told me to go to my local police station and to basically, see what they say. The next morning, I went to my local police station, handed myself in. I was told that a police officer would just come and speak to me, but I was actually under arrest, and I was taken to Huddersfield. I was locked in a cell for 17 hours. Literally 3 a.m. in the morning, I was taken out and placed in a van and also transported to Birmingham, which we reached at 6 a.m. And they kind of interviewed me there. At first, I didn't know why they would treat me the way they were treating, because one thing I want to point out as well is that when they took me out of the van, they actually cuffed my feet to my hands, and I was even unable to walk. And as I was taken into the police station, at first there were two police officers, and by the end, I reached inside, there were 7 around me. And I didn't understand why it was taken to this extreme, because it's not something, I don't understand why I was, being treated this way. I did find out inside, I think it was the guy trying to maybe get a reaction out of me, where he was speaking loud enough for me to hear, where he was saying that I was a psycho, a stalker, I was abusive. And I did say to him that, look, I've not, I'm basically innocent until proven guilty. And that's when I was kind of told that, or I found out that the allegations that were put against me was that when I had arrived outside my ex's house, they had basically said that I had given her death threats and I was there to basically murder her, which again isn't true.
Right. Okay. So you spent almost 2 days in jail.
Yeah.
For something that you didn't do.
Yeah. I was locked in there again. I was brought out for an interview at 3 p.m. My solicitor was present, and I basically told them the truth, exactly of why I was there. I had screenshots of the messages where she was basically told me, she had basically told me to go down and speak to her family. So it was an invitation. I had these screenshots on my phone. I told the police officers about this. They seized my phone and said that they was going to download it and basically use the screenshots as evidence. I was placed back into the cell, and I was told either they would let me go on bail or they would keep me on remand. And honestly, I prayed in that cell that I would be released, because honestly, it was probably one of the worst experiences I ever had. Literally having no contact or anything what was going on at the time of the day, even simple things like that. At the end, I was released on bail, and the case went on from May till August 2020. And basically, the case was NFA'd, no further action, because they had interviewed her and they had asked her if she had invited me down to her house, and she basically lied, denied it. And they had showed her, obviously, the screenshots. And so that's why my case was no further action. When the whole police case had finished, the family court day was still there. We were still going to appear, but then as time went on, she had dropped the case. And I think one of the reasons being was that she had been given her visa, basically to stay in the country. And I think, again, as I said, that was her main objective. So she had dropped the family court case.
Okay. And then how does the whole marriage end then?
So she proceeded to ask for a khullah in the Sharia court. The Sharia court did get in touch with me as well. They contacted me, and they basically didn't even want to hear my part of the story of what had happened. And as if the whole police scenario wasn't bad enough, she also spread malicious rumors about me, really disgusting rumors, which basically she first, her and her family, I should say, said that I couldn't have kids. It reached another level where they even proceeded and went on to say that I couldn't even perform in the bedroom, as disgusting as that sounds. She did get the khullah from the Sharia court.
So hold on, let me stop you there. Why didn't you just give her a divorce if that's what you wanted?
No, I did. When they asked me, I said yes, that I want to divorce. I no longer want to be with her, because my mind was made up a very long time ago, and that was when the whole jail thing had happened. When I was in the cell, that was when I knew I was done now. So the divorce happened, the rumors had happened, and honestly, it didn't really impact me at that time, because I was so angry and so kind of just full of rage at that time. But as time progressed, that's when it kind of hit me, and I realized what had happened, and I just fell through severe depression. It went to a point where I lost my job. I even had to sell my car to fund for things. And I literally just remember isolating myself, and I locked myself up in my bedroom. And the only time I came out was either to go to the bathroom, and that was it. I was literally, for 8 months straight, I was isolated in my bedroom. I didn't want to have anything to do with anyone.
Do you think you made any mistakes in your marriage?
I believe so. I could never say that I was perfect and she was just 100% wrong. We definitely weren't on the same page. There was hardly any communication between us. And I feel that maybe we were both from two different worlds and that we couldn't connect.
Season 1 of this podcast is sponsored by Muslim Marriage Services, also known as MMS. If you are looking for marriage, then join MMS, your trusted platform for finding a life partner within the Muslim community. What makes MMS unique? They are not just a matrimony platform. They are proud to be recognized as the world's only certified social enterprise Muslim matrimonial brand. This means that 50% of their profits are reinvested or donated to make a positive social impact. As you explore their features focused on digital security and compatibility, know that your journey with MMS contributes to something beyond matrimony. For further details, please visit www.muslimmarriage.global. So now you've got a divorce, it's 2020. I want to talk about your marriage search as a divorcee, whenever you become ready, that is. What's your marriage search been like as a divorced individual?
Honestly, I could say it's been very tough. I have been on profiles like Moz, apps like Moz. There's been, I think there was another one, I can't recall the name of it. But I think as soon as I tell them that I'm divorced, I think some people are very kind of put off by it. Because questions do tend to arise about, especially the divorce story when I tell them. I think it does kind of put them off.
As a divorcee, what's the sort of challenges you faced in your search for marriage?
I think speaking to different people, there have been things that, like, maybe you haven't been on the same page, or maybe we didn't have the same mindset, or maybe there were just things, I think maybe attraction wasn't there. There have been many stories where I've actually been catfished, or just simply that we just couldn't connect. And honestly, I'm just at this point, I've lowered the standards so much as to just that I'm willing to marry someone who I can just get along with and just be somewhat attracted to.
Okay, you talked about experiences. Let's share some experience or share an experience that you've had in your search for marriage as a divorcee.
One is the catfish story. Obviously, they I don't know how this happened, or we were speaking on Muslim Match at the time, and we seemed to get along really well with each other. And the only red flag I would say that happened at the time was that she wouldn't FaceTime me ever. But other than that, we got along really well, and we decided to meet. And when I did go to meet her, she just looked like a completely different person. I don't know if I should say this, but she, I'll actually kind of try and explain to you as to what she looked like in the photos and the videos compared to what she actually ended up looking like. So in the photos and the videos, curly hair, and she was quite curvaceous, and medium build. And when I approached her, when I actually saw her in person, she just looked like E Honda from Street Fighter. I'm sorry to say that, but honestly, just I don't know what to say. I had never seen anything like it. She was literally like twice as big as me, probably bigger than me, I would say. Arms like a wrestler, and no features matched anything. And I was just thinking in the back of my mind, what black magic is this? I don't know what it was. I just couldn't understand it. And I just had to literally flee, get in my car and just flee at that point.
Let's move on to divorce as a subject in general. So one of the questions I have for you is that, when someone who is divorced is looking for marriage, often what happens is that as soon as the person mentions they're divorced, people just close a door on them. You said you experienced this. My question to you is, what's your thoughts on that, and why do you think this happens?
Honestly, I would say that when divorce does come up, people maybe they get doubts in their mind. One thing I can say is, especially for the women anyway, I think they find it way harder to get remarried, especially when they're divorced. Even when they're single mothers as well, I would say. When they hear that a male is divorced, I think they may think that maybe he was physically or verbally abusive to his ex-wife. There's always reasons that arise or questions arise as to why the male was divorced, and maybe for female, I've heard a lot of things, terms that have been used. One I don't really want to say, but women are kind of referred to as used goods, and so maybe that's why males don't tend to want to marry divorced women.
When one is looking for marriage, right, there's two types of people. The first is the single, never been married type of people or group of people. And then the second one is the divorced group of people. Do you think both are on a level playing field when looking for marriage, or do you think one has an edge over the other?
I would definitely say the singles have an edge over the divorcees. I just think the divorced people have it way harder than the singletons. But then again, I think marriage overall is very hard for people to get married in this day and age. But I think if one has an edge over the other, it would definitely be the singles over the divorcees.
Okay, why do you think the single, never married people have an edge over those who are divorced?
I think because if they're kind of new to marriage, so it'd be like a new experience for them. Also, one thing that I've heard a lot is with divorcees is that they have trauma, and I think people don't want to kind of get mixed up in that, because especially from what I've heard from a lot of males anyway, when they've had experience with females, they always are told that the female, kind of went through some sort of abuse. And I don't think males want to kind of associate with someone like that. I think they just want to find someone who's single. If they are themselves single anyway, they just want to find someone new and hopefully kind of get married and start fresh.
So, what do you think are the solutions to assist divorced Muslims finding a spouse?
I don't think there is anything that you could assist. It's just the fact that I would just recommend just be yourself. Just try to be a good person. and just try to be a better version of yourself. And maybe you can kind of connect on similar experiences, and you can kind of move on, and kind of with your experiences you can kind of learn, and you can work with each other.
And just a general question, the Muslim community, generally speaking, in the Muslim community, people are finding it difficult to get married. Why do you think that's the case?
I would honestly say that I think the standards are too high, expectations are too high as well. I think people kind of want too much and marriage shouldn't be as difficult as it is. I think people overcomplicate things. I think they're looking too much into it, where they nitpick, and they're kind of too fussy as well. I've seen people reject each other over the silliest and minor of things. So maybe someone's not tall enough, maybe someone's not thin enough, maybe someone's not rich enough, maybe someone's not educated enough. So I think people kind of need to. There's nothing wrong with having a standard, but I think they're just too fussy in this day and age.
One thing I want to speak to you about is mental health, right? You mentioned as part of your own divorce story, you had trauma. You were unfortunately subject of depression. How do you bounce back from something like that?
Honestly, at the time, when you're going through such a horrible experience, you just feel as though nothing's going to change, and you're going to be stuck into this dark hole for the rest of your life. And honestly, what I would say is that time is definitely a healer, and you just need to have patience. You need to have faith, and that is what's going to get you through. Because a lot of us Muslims, we do forget this, that tawakkul is such an important thing, sabr is such an important thing, and something like this is not going to go overnight. It will take time, and you just need to soldier on and move on, and just carry on with your life. This time is not going to stop for you. The world is not going to stop for you. They owe you nothing, and you just kind of need to be positive. As I know that's easier said than done, but that is the only way you're going to move on. If you kind of delve into that and you stick into that, you're never going to get out, and it's only going to make you worse, and you're not going to move anywhere in life.
What we're going to do next is we're going to do a rapid fire round, inshallah. And the rule of the rapid fire round is you got to give an answer within the first 3 seconds, and just say whatever first comes to your mind. So you ready for this?
Yes.
Okay. Would you rather marry a tall girl or an extra large girl? So taller girl than you or an extra large girl?
I'd say extra large.
Rich lady who you don't find attractive, or poor lady who you find very attractive?
Poor lady who I find attractive.
Living with family or living independently?
Living independently.
Looks or character?
Character.
Educated lady or very successful lady?
Educated.
One thing you really want but you could compromise on for the right person?
Honestly, I would have to say kids, because I have met a lot of single mothers and also divorcees who kind of already have kids and they don't want many. So yeah, I think it would be kids that I'm willing to compromise.
Okay, one regret in life?
Probably not educating myself as much as I am.
Biggest achievement to date?
Going through my divorce, getting through it.
And what's your biggest dream?
Biggest dream is to, inshallah, go to Hajj, go and perform Hajj, and also to be married.
Thank you very much, Ali, for that. And now we reach the final part of this podcast, which is your profile. Okay, Ali, what's your age?
33.
What's your height?
5'8".
What's your location?
Leeds.
What's your ethnicity?
Pakistani.
And what's your occupation?
Security.
Okay, and in terms of what you're looking for, what's your age preference?
23 to 43.
Okay, your height preference?
Height, I don't really have an issue with it.
Your location preference?
I would like to prefer, obviously, West Yorkshire, but maybe, yeah, I would say I don't really mind.
Okay, ethnicity preference?
Pakistani. Bengali, I would say, and also Indian, Just 3.
And your occupation preference?
Anything.
If you fit the criteria of the guest today, and if you are interested in considering the guest for marriage, then please email us the following details: your name, age, location, height, occupation, ethnicity, marital status, family contact name and details. Our email address is divorcedmuslims@gmail.com. Remember the golden rule: only family details will be exchanged. If we have no family details, then the request will be ignored. Ali, thank you very much, Jazakallah khair, for coming on the show. I hope you found it useful. Any last words from you, my friend?
No, honestly, thank you for having me on and giving me the opportunity to tell my story,
Season 1 of this podcast is sponsored by Muslim Marriage Services, also known as MMS. If you are looking for marriage, then join MMS, your trusted platform for finding a life partner within the Muslim community. What makes MMS unique? They are not just a matrimony platform. They are proud to be recognized as the world's only certified social enterprise Muslim matrimonial brand. This means that 50% of their profits are reinvested or donated to make a positive social impact. As you explore their features focused on digital security and compatibility, know that your journey with MMS contributes to something beyond matrimony. For further details, please visit www.muslimmarriage.global.